By the way, I know that Senator Hassan
Yeah.
expressed appreciation, and I want to join her in appreciation for VA supporting our legislation to get this burial rights, equitable rights straightened out for our Guard members. Thanks for that. And General Quinn, as you probably know, was out in North Dakota last week and talked to some folks. So anyway, but
He told me it's really windy and cold.
that hardly ever happens there. I don't know what he's talking about. He's from Montana, for crying out loud. How big a deal could it be? Sure. Yeah.
I will just say on that bill, Senator Cramer, I thought that worked really well. You all raised this to my attention. Mm-hmm. We dug into it. And I think very transparently, straightforwardly, our staffs, our teams working together, we came to a good outcome. I think I'm really proud of that work.
We just have to pass it.
Yep.
We have a way of complicating simple things around here, however, you might have noticed. You might recall that one of my main focuses on the committee, particularly last Congress, but also this Congress, of course, is the use of HBOT.
Yep.
And we were able to get some language into a bill last year.
Yes.
S-785 that's now law, of course. And I'm just going to read a couple of lines from the bills so that we can then talk about that. You know it well.
Yep.
The law will authorize the Secretary of the VA to enter into public-private partnerships to research the effectiveness of hyperbaric oxygen therapy, will require the VA to use an objective test to measure the effectiveness of hyperbaric oxygen therapy, and will commission a comprehensive review and study of HBOT, both within the VA and in outside organizations. The study would be completed with a recommendation from the VA about the effectiveness of hyperbaric oxygen therapy. All right. So that was last Congress. You and I talked about it at the beginning.
Yep.
It's still, I don't know, some days you may feel like you've been there for years, and some days it may seem like last week. I don't know. But it's been...
Most days it feels like a long time.
Yeah, I bet it does. And time does fly. But maybe if you could just give me a little bit of update where we might be on that.
So I'm really glad you asked about this, and I knew you would. So we submitted our first report to you all in October. We have two remaining issues on the language that you just read, and so I want to read these two issues to make sure I get them right.
Thank you.
Issue 1, Section 702, subsection D, requires us to commence a study on, quote, all individuals receiving HBOT through the current pilot program, which you just read, to provide HBOT to veterans to, quote, determine the efficacy and effectiveness of HBOT for the treatment of PTS and TBI. The program evaluation, i.e. the pilot program, is not considered a research study, and therefore commencing research activities with veterans who have agreed to participate in the program evaluation, i.e. the pilot program, poses an ethical risk because they entered into the program under a different pretense, according to our team. Issue number 2, 702D, requires VA to commence a study, outcomes related to the efficacy and effectiveness of HBOT are not assessed as part of the pilot program. And there's some necessary components of human subject clinical trials that are not included in the pilot program. So the point is, we did the pilot program, but it's not a sufficient or ethical basis on which to make the research conclusions. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do, but it's also, I think it's why we put in the law both within the VA and outside organizations.
Yeah.
That, so that we could put together a large enough sample.
Yeah. So it now makes more sense to me what Coach Tuberville was asking, because he made this point about outside participants. So let me take these two questions and make sure I understand them and come back to you guys.
No, that would be great. I would appreciate that. And I know it's complicated, but I also know, and that you and I talked about this before you went to the job. General Quinn and I talked about it when I warned him about burial rights for Guard members. I said, because it sounds so easy until you get there and you bump up against that giant wall called bureaucracy. It's not mean-spirited, it's just bureaucracy, and it gets in the way. And people that don't want to do certain things find it very easy to not do those things. So that'd be great if you get that for me, and maybe it's a great an opportunity to just renew the invitation to come out to Fargo.
I
see
was
the
saying,
clinic.
I was saying to Quinn that I was jealous that he went, and I look forward to come. I will come. I
Yeah,
hope
but-
to come this year. I just run out of real estate but I will. I definitely look forward to.
Can't be everywhere every week, that for sure. And but sometime on your way to Stillwater, it's not that far. And as I know about you, February won't scare you. I mean,
No,
heck,
no,
you're going
it's
to
easy.
Alaska. It sounds like.
I'm going to Alaska in 2 weeks. I don't know, and I'm actually going to have to get a new coat for that.
Yeah. Oh, good.
So-
Well, then you'll be ready for Fargo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Definitely.
we'd love to have you, of course.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thanks for your service.